All right, we have quite an interesting discussion this morning. Our topic, let me start with the topic before we go into the guest. From fuel to savings, why electric vehicles make more economic sense for Nigerian transport operators and car owners. Why do electric vehicles make more sense? And our guest this morning is a man of many parts. I don't know where to start. He holds a BSc in Civil Engineering, an MSc in Water and Environmental Engineering, an MBA in Business Marketing. He is an executive training from Lagos Business School, a current certified engineer. He has been in banking for God knows how long, and then he's moving into tech. He's also an author, man of many parts. He's also a friend of the house. Akin Akingbogun, it's great to have you. You are welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike,
he's
for
also
having me again.
The VP at Mobility, at Qoray Mobility and Electronics and Energies. It's great to have you.
Same here.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so let's get straight into it. I had the pleasure of driving some EVs, of course, from Qoray. That was for next year. You will get to see all of that full where we get that package produced. Absolutely. And it was just quite an experience. Look, driving an electric vehicle is just something entirely different. But let's get to it. How is it that in a country where we still have challenges with power, how does it make more sense to drive an electric vehicle at this particular point in time?
Thank you, Mike. So basically, EVs, electric vehicles, short for EVs, they've come to stay. They are starting out because it is no longer an environmental decision. It's a financial decision. It's a conversation around how much money you're able to save by driving with electric vehicles. Now, typically in Nigeria, if you ride an electric vehicle, you probably spend an average of about 100 to 125 naira per kilometer, if you look at it in that sense. But if you ride your regular vehicles with petrol driven, you're spending about 225 to 250 naira per kilometer. That's how much it translates into cost. So it depends on how often you ride, your cost of, fueling your vehicle becomes pretty much very high. Well, electric vehicle is able to save you that money, not just in fueling cost, because obviously the cost of electricity is much lower than it is to power your vehicles with petrol. The other interesting part about it also is the fact that the cost of electricity, which is the naira per kilowatt hour, is relatively stable, more static, for in tariffs than you have for fuel. Fuel is very volatile. Right now we're crossing the 1,000 naira mark. So for as long as the fuel can fluctuate and go back and forth, there's no predictability about how much money you're spending for commuting. All right. So the electric vehicle comes in as an alternative, innovative alternative that saves you money for transiting, for commuting, and yet allows you to enjoy the smart tech and innovation that comes with it.
You mentioned smart tech. We just showed a part of the interactive screen.
Right.
It was something else.
Absolutely.
I drove that car. It was too much for one. It was too much to put because every single thing was tech based.
Absolutely.
Isn't that? We come in manual. We know how to push the car. Something happens and all of that. When you have a car like this, let's look at this. Where everything, and I mean everything because that was me trying it out.
Right.
This car had everything automated, digitized.
Fantastic.
How can we, in such a country as we have now, how do we maneuver with such a technological innovation?
So let me start first by trying to relieve the experience you had. For instance, when you drove into the vehicle, when you got into the vehicle and sat into the car, you saw the minimalist design that it had. Very different ambience. You noticed that there were no buttons. Electric cars do not have buttons. They just have screens. They have this 15-inch infotainment screen where all of it, the interaction within the vehicle and yourself happens. The vehicle, the seats can adjust to your size, to your length. Allows you to get
that won't happen. In fact, not me. It happened. You get in and then it moves up. It adjusts. You can also adjust more if you want, but it's. And then when you turn off the car and open the door, it goes back to give you a chance to get.
So if you have multiple users, it can record the physique and the style, so it fits into the kind of person that's coming in to drive it. It has that sort of memory. It also has some massage points. For instance, the Savannah, which is one of the vehicles we have, has some massage points. You sit in the vehicle and then it helps you feel more comfortable as you drive. Now, when you drive the vehicles, one of the first things that hits you is the fact that it's absolutely quiet. There is no rumbling of the engine, there is no revving of the engine, and then so one of the first experience you have is the fact that it's very quiet. You don't even know if you've started it, and you're wondering if people will know that you're moving. Another thing that hits you outside the quietness of the vehicle is the fact that once you step on the accelerator, it's a one-pedal driving. Once you step on the pedal, the vehicle delivers instant torque to the vehicle, so the vehicles move almost instantly.
Yeah.
There's an immediate response to movement. So every time you step on the pedal, it moves almost immediately, and then you feel the surge of energy, the surge of that comes in as you drive. And it gives you the impression as though you're in a jet or a rocket.
While I was driving, when you take your leg off the accelerator, it almost comes to a stop at that moment. So
Fantastic.
It's almost like you're learning how to drive. Right. It's different from driving your normal car. Right. But let's get to the part that many people want to know now.
Tell me.
Charging.
Good.
And I'm like, okay, so if a tank can take me to Ibadan or take me to Akure and back, if I travel to Akure and I don't have where to charge, and the car now lose this thing and just leave me on the road, I'll carry towing machine from Lagos to come and tow the car. What happens in such scenarios?
One of the 4 different things that is bedeviling the adoption of electric vehicles in Nigeria is range anxiety. And it's not just here in Nigeria, anywhere in the world. Everybody thinks, how do I get from one place to the other without having to start looking for where to charge? The market in Nigeria for electric vehicles is very nascent. We're right at the beginning stage, and so it will ramp us as we go. Qoray Mobilities, for instance, has about 10 charging stations here in Lagos, which means you can plan and schedule your movement such that you can drive into any of the charging stations and self-charge, which means you don't need an attendant to do that. You can go in there with your phone, and then you scan the QR codes and charge your vehicle. We have some of these chargers at the Sheraton. For those who have gone to the Sheraton hotels, you'd see it there. You'd see it at the Marriott Hotel. You'd also see it at the Federal Palace Hotel. You find it at the Marina head office of the Sterling Bank. You find it in the Ilupeju head office of Sterling Bank. So we've got about 10 of them, functional, fast DC charging. You get your car charged in less than 1 hour or thereabout, and then you're back on the road. Now, for every vehicle you buy from Qoray Mobilities, you get to have an home charger. It comes with the vehicle as part of the kit. We install it at the house. So basically, you can charge your vehicles while you're at home. So you only need to charge opportunistic charging when you're on the road because you're probably running out of juice. Now, that charger that you have at home can charge your vehicle overnight, the same way you charge your phones overnight, right? And the amount of electricity that is consumed for charging is just equivalent to about running your 2 ACs, 2 horsepower ACs for, say, 7 or 8 hours, which is just as much electricity that you need to move your vehicle. And that electricity is still far cheaper, roughly half of the cost that it would take for you to run your petrol vehicles. So, like I said earlier, it is not only an environmental choice, it is a financial decision. It's a chance where you're looking at the option of buying vehicles that gets you where you're going in a far cheaper way than it would if you had used an alternative fossil fuel, diesel run or petrol vehicles.
All of that. Okay, all right, wonderful, wonderful. So to wrap up, we're just saying that generally, in how long, when you look at the adoption and how we are as a country, how well do you think, how far do you think it will get to a point where, I know it's where the world is as of now, right. How soon do you think Nigeria could get to that stage? Let's wrap up with that.
I mean, the world is not there yet.
Adoption.
The world is not there yet. I mean, we have policies within the country already suggesting that we can go net zero by 2060. Okay. And even in Lagos State, we're beginning to have standardized documents, policies developed specifically to replace a lot of the vehicles currently within the country to electric. The adoption for electric vehicles in Nigeria would start first with light EVs like electric tricycles, electric motorcycles, which we're already seeing. And then we then see commercial vehicles like Ubers and all of that. For instance, Qoray runs Cab Zero. Cab Zero, it's an all-electric fleet, which you can order from any of the retail popular brands like Uber or Bolt. And when you order it, an electric car simply just wheels down to your doorsteps and moves you around. What we found is that it's very much cheaper running those vehicles on electricity than it is running on petrol. Now, the other problem around the adoption includes, okay, well, we don't have enough charging. We don't have the grid, for instance. We can have an energy mix where solar and grid and battery is available for charging these vehicles at different parts in the country or in the urban centers like Lagos. What it means is government policies has to encourage people to set up this sort of charging points across so that, the range anxiety that I mentioned earlier becomes something of the past. The other part of the things that needs to happen before we get to that El Dorado is to have more technicians that are vast with repairing these vehicles.
And have the knowledge.
And that's also happening. We're having more of these brands like BYD, like Qoray Mobility, which is basically an indigenous Nigerian electric brand because the cars are branded Qoray. We have technicians that, competent enough to repair these vehicles. We have a supply chain that has spare parts ready, and there's a warranty for the vehicles. Where you can buy the vehicles and you can enjoy warranty for up to 5 years on the batteries.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Akin. It was a pleasure having you here. And more grease to your elbows. Walter.
Thank you.
All right.
Fantastic.
Okay, all right, that was it. So we'll take a time out now. Stay with us. There's still more to come on the show.